So our expectation is exactly that, and that we're going to go through a run here, as it were, um, in through next year and onward, because what will happen next year in this environment, theoretically, with a further escalation in home prices, is that if we're talking about government rates in the low fives and conventional rates in the low sixes to the high fives. I mean, at one point, at the first week of September, right before the Fed meeting, I saw 4875 on an FHA loan. So, um, it's coming back, so to speak, right? The tide went out, the origination tide went out, and the origination tide is now coming in, and it's incumbent upon us as participants to be out there hammering away as diligently as possible and getting our names and faces out there as often as possible, making calls and marketing and things so we can capture some of those opportunities. In 2021, the active originator was doing 3 loans a month. And today the active originator is doing 1 loan a month. And that's put this whole washout of originators. It's 120,000 NMLS licenses, with hundreds of thousands more not doing loans. And so it gives us a lot more runway as loan officers in the space. There's going to be, as much as we hear these little stories about, I make an application and everybody calls me and I got all these texts and emails, what we're seeing. And then at the same time, I think those are individual stories. They're not at scale. At the same time, the marketing rules have changed around lead generation. And so the federal government has adjusted how and who can reach out under what context. So before, if somebody made an application, in a lending tree, they might get 1 million up calls and texts and things like that. And that's no longer the case. So we have a much clearer runway with much better technology solutions and a much more competitive market environment for our originators out there to be able to generate more business with less noise, so to speak. So yes, you're going to still have that consumer that's like, oh, I'm shopping my rate and whatever. But that's going to be a 1 out of 20 versus 1 out of 5, which is what it was in 2021. And so that's the opportunity for us, and having less competition in the space for those of us who have stayed is really going to be beneficial these next 2 years.